Judge, thank you so much.
You're
I'm
welcome.
so happy you stayed late tonight. Your dream come true.
I love this show, but I especially can't wait for that panel. That is a hot panel. They're fidgeting over there. They're dying for you to get to them.
Oh, and get them we shall. Thanks again, Judge.
He's even a little outnumbered in there with a guy in the middle.
We need one more broad in here, and it will be out now.
I didn't say that.
He didn't say it. I said it. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Another major milestone for the Trump administration, the president's 500th day in office today. He celebrated where else? On Twitter, writing, quote, "This is my 500th day in office, and we have accomplished a lot. Many believe more than any president in his first 500 days. Massive tax and regulation cuts, military and vets." Well, hopefully they didn't cut them. Lower crime and illegal immigration, stronger borders, judgeships, best economy and jobs ever, and much more. ... The White House is calling it 500 days of American greatness. But how is he really doing? Let me ask my grade A party panel. She is the townhall.com editor and Fox News contributor. Katie Pavlich is here. He is the host of You're Welcome and author of Dear Reader. It is Michael Malice, and conservative columnist and author of How Do I Tax Thee? Kristen Tate is here. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, Kennedy.
So let's talk about this. This is so fascinating, the 500 days, because depending on who you ask, if you ask Democrats, they will say it is total failure. The economy is in shambles. People have horrible jobs that they hate, even if unemployment is low, and the president is doing an abhorrent job in the Oval Office. However, 87% of Republicans still support him. The only person who had a number that high since World War II was George W. Bush after 9/11.
Yeah, it's amazing all of the noise surrounding how horrible the Trump administration is. When you look at the results of what they're doing, whether you're a supporter or a critic, he's actually been able to get a lot done. Unemployment is at one of its lowest rates in a generation. African-American unemployment is down. We have a new Supreme Court justice, deregulation, so small businesses and large businesses can grow as a whole and provide better jobs.
Yep.
Tax reform has allowed people to keep more of their own money. And politically, going into the 2018
and
midterms,
Michael Chiklis taking notes behind the president.
Indeed. This is good for the president because he's getting results and down ballot that's important, and even better for him. 2020 will be here before we know it, and this certainly helps him go.
Yeah, see, and there have been a few political bright spots in the primaries, as you point out. So the president can say he can legitimately point to his record. If he were anyone else, and if he were not distracting and not polarizing, I think that he would be the most popular president in modern history at this point in time. But he does a lot to sort of harm the goodwill that he gathers with this positive agnostic data. And there's the big problem here, Michael Malice, unless that back brace under the shawl and trench coat is some sort of in-home jailing device, Hillary Clinton has not been locked up.
Yeah, well, thanks for stealing my punchline. Yeah. So there's no wall. Yeah. He also said he would audit the Fed by executive ordinance for 100 days. The Fed is not audited.
Nor ended.
Yeah. The members of the press have not been executed or put on trial. Whoa. So he promised to do this during the campaign. There's lots of things he said he was going to be doing. He's folded, or at least moderated his position on some of the justices he put up because they didn't have the big majority. So yeah, it has been productive. But remember, I'm also not sick of winning. And I was promised that I would be sick of winning.
When will you be sick of winning? When?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay, very good. Now, Kristen, you are a supporter of the president. You tend to see the things that he does mostly as a net positive. So how has he done 500 days in?
Well, I think, relatively speaking, he's doing the best he can. You know, he's gotten all of these things done in the face of a media who's rooting for him to fail, and frankly, an obstructionist Congress, which includes a lot of Republicans. Yeah. And for being the oldest president sworn into office, he has an incredible amount of energy, and he's so action-oriented. Yeah. But to pick up on what you just said, I mean, he promised us a wall. This is a president who I believe got elected on immigration, and he signed that omnibus bill a few months ago, which fully funded sanctuary cities, actually expanded catch and release, and banned himself from building a wall. It was a total betrayal to his supporters. So I think if he doesn't have any significant progress on immigration, specifically the wall, he's going to run into trouble in 2020.
Yeah, in a dark alley.
If there's no wall, how are we going to put up people against the wall?
Exactly.
Oh, no, Michael Malice.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, not really even making statements at all. All right, so much more at the panel. I love them. The judges are absolutely right. They are gorgeous. The Supreme Court ruling in favor of a baker who refused to make a gay wedding cake. But do we need the government to tell private business who they can and cannot serve? John Stossel joins me with the lesson in liberty. And it may surprise you. Plus, is Bill Clinton ready to apologize to Monica Lewinsky? You really don't want to miss Bubba's reaction to this question and so much more coming up. Stay here.
You didn't apologize to her.
I have not talked to her.
Do you feel like you
thought
owe her an apology?
No.
Bill Clinton got squeezed so hard in that Today Show interview, the anchor was almost covered in Bubba's rage froth. The former president agreed the Me Too movement is long overdue, but boy, does he get hot under that Arkansas cotton collar when things hit too close to home, which is not the White House, because Hillary lost. When Craig Melvin asked if Mr. Hillary apologized to Monica Lewinsky for the Blue Dress Express, he went on some idiotic tirade about leaving the White House without a penny to his name.
Nobody believes that I got out of that for free. I left the White House $16 million in debt. But you typically have ignored gaping facts in describing this, and I bet you don't even know them.
My favorite part of that clip is not his slurring and his ass, gas, or grass. It's the look on James Patterson's face, as though he was woken up from a nap at the home during visiting hours. Anyhow, that money he was in debt before he made a few $100 million loading up the corrupt silos at the sham Clinton Foundation. To Monica, the dress was blue. To Bill, it was solid gold. But did he apologize?
You didn't apologize to her.
I have not talked to her.
Do you feel like you owe her an apology?
No, I do. I do not. I've never talked to her. But I did say publicly on more than one occasion that I was sorry. That's very different. The apology was public.
He's Grandpa Forrest Gump. A public apology is not really an apology, you slurring, angry, word-splitting weirdo. Part of the reason Hillary lost was, in addition to her unparalleled unlikability, was her world-class hypocrisy. She thought she'd ride the lady train to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue because every woman is obligated to proclaim, "I'm with her," and every survivor of sexual assault has the right to be believed. Unless they were assaulted by her husband. Then they can share a special place in hell with women who don't vote for boobs and a back brace. Monica Lewinsky has taken stock in her life and taken responsibility. I guess that's too much to ask for the most powerful man in the world who abused that power and now takes the opportunity to rationalize and mansplain how every woman should be so lucky to hold his cigar. Perhaps no statement made Bill Clinton on Today more mad and was more dubious than his claim that he happens to be a fan of that very movement that aims to rid the workplace of people like him. Watch.
I like the Me Too movement. It's way overdue. I think it doesn't mean I agree with everything. I still have some questions about some of the decisions which have been made.
If you listen closely, you can hear everyone on set doing a spit take when he said he likes Me Too. So is Bill Clinton off to a good start promoting his new book, or just off his rocker? The party panel is back. Katie Pavlich, Michael Malice, and Kristen Tate. Malice, I'll start with you. What did you think of the interview?
So you thought I was going to go for a joke, and I'm going to be dead serious.
Please.
Monica Lewinsky, when this was all happening, Bill Clinton and his goons made it a case in the press that she was a stalker, stalking the president. How are you going to stalk someone who has Secret Service? Doesn't make sense. They would have ruined this young girl's life the way they ruined the people from the travel office to get slots for jobs for Hillary Clinton and her friends. And without that DNA evidence, her life would have been ruined, and he would have no remorse. So the fact that he doesn't see a need to apologize for publicly humiliating and trying to destroy some chubby 23-year-old who just wanted to flirt with someone in power is reprehensible and just shows what a complete sociopath him and his mummy wife are.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And you know what I would argue? He did ruin her life.
Of course.
She's tried several times to go to school and start an accessories line and whatever else to make something of her life, and it's been very difficult, and she's still a punchline.
I was just going to, she's a punchline and a joke, and she said even at a young age, how am I ever going to find a husband? And for what? What did she do?
Well, she did pretty much what every other 23-year-old does in the proximity to power. You know, it's
and let's not forget what he did to Kenneth Starr, who was just doing his job, and they were making the case that Kenneth Starr is sex obsessed. For the Clinton to say that he was impeached over sex is like a drunk driver saying, I got arrested because I had the wrong wine at dinner. That's exactly what they're trying to make it out to be, and these people are shameless and reprehensible.
Well, it was a nice Barolo. Kristen?
I mean, what struck me about the interview was just how unprepared he seemed for these questions and the fact that he took no responsibility. I mean, the Clintons are good friends with Harvey Weinstein. You'd think that Bill Clinton would spend some time thinking about this.
He hates being lumped in with Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby and every other man that's been caught up in this net.
You would just think, though, that he would have
knitting.
something to say. He just seemed so caught off guard. But what's been really interesting is to see these outlets like the New York Times and the Atlantic over the last year start to run articles that really take a look at the skeletons in Clinton's closet. The left tells us that we need to believe all women, but the left refused to even acknowledge Bill Clinton's accusers like Juanita Broaddrick until, the Clintons are no longer politically relevant.
Yeah, and
now that they don't have an investment in them.
re-traumatized every time Bill Clinton talks about it, and she takes to social media and discusses it. But what's interesting, and Michael touched on it, saying that he's a sociopath, is you realize how angry he is about this and how he hasn't been able to move on. And we are talking about probably the most polished politician of our lifetimes, more so than Ronald Reagan or President Obama.
Well, and he's, let's not forget, backed by an entire political party, the Democratic Party, that as recently as 2012 was glorifying Ted Kennedy at the DNC convention as a women's rights champion and ignoring completely that he left a woman to suffocate to death in his car. So my question is broader than just the Clintons. I know that they've had this come to Jesus moment in the Democratic Party about the Me Too movement, which somehow the dam broke and they finally came to that conclusion. But it's not only that Bill Clinton ruined Monica Lewinsky's life, feminists ruined her life as well, and they enabled him and men in the Democratic Party for 2-3 decades to continue this behavior against young women so long as they were pushing the right progressive policies. And as you said, it's reprehensible, and they've been doing it up until the last year.
Yeah, but
I would say that they're still doing it.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think what we're seeing is a generational shift. And, there are young feminists who are really disgusted by what he's done, and he's everything they stand against. And I think that's why a lot of younger Democrats gravitated toward Bernie Sanders. Because he seemed like a man of principle who wasn't going to abuse his power in the same way, who wasn't out just to concentrate as much of it as possible as the Clintons are.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary Clinton was basically the Democratic version of Mitt Romney in the sense that she was a corporation posing as a human being.
Yeah, that's
and when you're the leftist who's anti-corporation, you're going to vote for someone who's like that, Bernie Sanders.
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up, because I think, and I know Bill Clinton tries to differentiate himself from President Trump, and they all do. They all try and do it from each other. But I think what's more interesting is seeing the similarities. Seeing the similarities in their personalities and the things they do and say, because they all feel like they're transformational figures.
Oh, absolutely. But Kennedy, what's so weird to what you just said about these young women and young feminists, I'm friends with a lot of these people. Many of them don't even realize that there are so many accusations against Bill Clinton. Of course, they know about Monica Lewinsky, but because the press really just completely ignored many of his accusers until now, and, the Clintons don't matter, so they're willing to cover it. They don't even know this happened.
But the Clintons don't matter, so now they're willing to uncover it, which is what you were pointing out. Thank you so much for being here. What a great panel. What a great way to start the week. Katie, Michael, and Kristen. Woo! All right, coming up, Criminal Minds is one of TV's